are in the world. This is a scene for Hong Kong House of Cards. This is a backdated scene pre-downtime set for Friday, August 28th, 2015. Today we find ourselves, it is evening. Actually, it is probably morning, early morning. We find Adam on the beach walking the wall, actually. Um, Maintaining his safe distance, he's walking towards the highway, and once he gets to the highway, he rushes over the separation from the wall, and I need some dice rolls.
Okay.
Because he has been to his intended location. Oh, God. Damn it.
What?
Okay, there we go. Where did I cut out?
God damn it, and then nothing.
Yes.
You said because
Okay.
he's been to his
So
intended location.
Adam is crossing the wall at the only safe place we know of to cross the wall. And at I need 7 dice at difficulty 3, because he knows exactly where he's going to.
So 2 successes. Will? Will? It seems we are experiencing technical difficulties again. Do, 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 do. Okay. You back?
Yep.
2 successes.
3 successes. Okay. Cool. So Adam disappears and reappears at the grandparents' house at roughly an hour after dusk. So
That's good. And there'll be kids running around in the yard, and
okay.
when they see you,
Yeah,
they'll all
he kind of just pops in out of nowhere.
Well, no, it's not that. It's when they see you approaching the house, they all kind of freeze and look at you for a bit. And then Alicia will poke her head out the window. And
okay.
Go, oh, it's fine, he's with me. And they'll all go back to playing.
So Adam will head into the house, kind of look around.
And just like before, there's biscuits and tea and grandparents. And they'll offer you some of the tea.
He will happily accept. He's like, oh boy, story time. Story.
And her grandma will pat you on the shoulder and say, save it for the moot.
But it's so good.
I'm glad to hear that. And after everyone has had a cup of sweet tea and a couple of biscuits, and make their way out the house, you'll notice that whilst there is the kind of air of it being a bit of a special occasion, they're not wearing Sunday best.
Mm. It's dress in jeans
Mhm.
and a t-shirt and a pair of hiking boots, actually.
Which is pretty much what everyone
And
else is wearing.
he probably has like a Hawaiian t-shirt over unbuttoned.
Mhm. And
He's just like, so yeah.
their house is fairly near the edge of town, so grandma's gonna look you up and down, nod more to herself than anything, and they're just gonna start walking. And uh, one or two of the teenagers are coming with, but most of the children and the grandfather are staying at the house.
Okay. Adam's walk with Alicia.
And they're gonna
So
meet up with a few other people as they're walking, but they're basically walking into the swamp.
so I was talking to a buddy of mine and something about a hunt. We gonna go hunt?
Well, generally the kinfolk don't get to go on the hunt, but there usually
Oh,
is one at the end.
I can hunt.
We'll see if they'll let you.
Okay.
They might not even let me go because I'm not really part of the sept.
Oh,
It's usually the job of the kinfolk to guard the sept while the others are off hunting.
oh, okay.
It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt to ask.
He nods at this and kind of falls back to the back of the group behind everybody and kind of waits for nobody to look and shifts. And then walks up beside Alicia, just follows with her.
Hmm. You'll get a few glances until they realise that it's just you.
It's just that one guy who's with us who's now a mountain lion. What the fuck?
Yeah, they take it surprisingly well because they've been warned. And they'll reach a point quite deep into the woods. When I say woods, it's near New Orleans. It's the bayou, heading into the bayou. Um, and then they'll all shift into lupus form, and there'll be a bit of a howl, which you won't understand.
Meow.
There's a few wolfy snickers at that.
He's trying to follow suit, so he's just like meow.
And Alicia will come over and give you a nose in the ear kind of. There's a bit of an there's a bit of an
Tones in
encourage.
his ear.
It's basically the wolf version of giving you a thump on the shoulder as encouragement slash amusement.
His ears kind of fold back, and he looks over, and then looks ahead, looks at everybody. Kind of at this point, he's just taking it in. Smell wise, what is going on? Because Adam is at this point on uh, supernatural or cat smell.
Well, smell wise, it is the bayou. It's kind of a swamp. There's various smells of life in all different stages. It's a place where there's
Okay.
lots of stuff growing, but there's lots of stuff decaying and rotting at the same time. And
For gross smells.
yeah, there's moss dripping from the trees, and but yeah, There'll be a few more wolves trot over, and one of them will shift into Homid form, walk over, um, and will offer his hand for you to sniff.
Adam will kind of sniff it, and because Adam's a mountain lion, he will lick the paw.
He'll look mildly
He's
surprised and
Adam.
then kind of pat you on the head. And then he'll kind of crouch down and say, I am Wise Bite, right master of this set. You have been invited to join the moot. Do you accept that this will bring with it certain expectations of secrecy and respect?
Adam's tail kind of swishes, and he'll nod to the best of the cat's ability.
This will be interesting. That's all the warning he gives you before he grabs you by the scruff of the neck. And
Oh God.
suddenly everything changes.
Oh God, someone just flicker flashed me. Oh shit. Okay.
No, they didn't flicker flash you. It's you seem to be in very much the same place, but very different. Because what he's done is he's brought you across the gauntlet.
I was gonna say, am I in the Umbra?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I
so
looks
you'll
around.
notice that there's more things flittering about in the trees. There's mosquitoes, but they seem to be more mosquito-like than normal mosquitoes. There's um, there's more sounds. Things are more vibrant. It's still very clearly the same place, but at the same time, it seems more than it was. Also, nobody else is there at the moment. So the others appear very quickly afterwards. And and then a lot of them are going to shift into Homid. You can see in the distance a bonfire that wasn't there before.
Okay. Adam's kind of, while being carried by the scruff of the neck,
He
is
wasn't
kind of.
carried. He just grabbed him by the scruff of the neck.
Oh.
Didn't lift
Okay.
him
So.
and,
Okay.
and
So he's
shifted
not
him
holding.
over. And once he'd shifted him over, he let him go.
Oh, okay. So Adam kind of jumps up and swats at some mosquitoes.
But you're going to buzz at him indignantly.
Wow. As soon as people stop like paying attention to him,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually going to shift back to human and
That might
walk
be
up to the
slightly
bonfire.
difficult.
He's going to go behind a tree then. He'll
Yeah.
close
Alicia
his
will
eyes and squeeze them real
kind of
tight.
wave some of them off because obviously you're the strange new person and they're curious. But
Yeah. So yeah, worst comes to worst, he will go behind a tree and shift there.
and I'm pretty sure spirits don't count because the mosquitoes are watching. But
Yeah, no.
I'm fairly certain that seeing as spirits probably have finality of 0, they don't count.
Yeah, no. It's only when people are watching.
Mhm.
So he'll shift and then walk to the bonfire.
And there's quite a lot of people there. They all seem to be kind of chatting with each other. They get a bit quiet when you arrive, but then they go back to chatting again. In fact, they're chatting a bit louder. quite possibly talking about you, but they're trying to be subtle about it. Um, not stare too much. And there's a big pot of gumbo. There's a barbecue going on. There's food and drink all over the place. You'll probably notice that aside from a bit of the finger food from the buffet, people aren't really eating much at the moment.
Okay. Um, me, let me see here. Um, can I get 4 dice at standard diff
Mm-hmm.
for perception alertness?
Yep, I think you notice.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think I noticed. Um, so the standard is just this is kind of like a big family get together. Is the general gist?
Yeah, yeah, that's currently the vibe going on. Is that it is like a huge family get together. Except as I said, nobody's really eating the food yet.
Okay. Well, Adam
They're
will take that.
snacking, but they're not kind of starting on big pieces, if you see what I mean.
Right. Adam will take that as a gesture to not go snag a plate of food and start eating.
Yeah. Um, and Alicia will introduce you to a few people. Probably doesn't really matter what their names are because
Yeah,
the various NPCs, but she'll
right.
just kind of introduce you around and there'll be a bit of small talk. And about 5 minutes later, suddenly, everyone will stop talking and will look to one side of the clearing.
Adam will lean over to Alicia. Is it something I said?
She'll shake her head. Um, and entering the clearing is quite a large man. Um, and it's clearly more muscle than fat, but there is enough fat there that it's he's one of those muscular fat people.
Right. Like
Um,
Andre the Giant.
yeah,
Gotcha.
and he's and everyone is paying attention to him as he steps up towards the towards what almost seems like you don't know why it seems important because it looks exactly like the rest of the clearing, but it's almost like him standing there and stopping makes it an important spot. And everyone will start moving into a circle.
Adam will follow suit. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, this is you guys' rodeo. I'm not going to just be like, hey, I'm Adam.
Yeah. So they all form a circle, and Alicia is standing on one side of you, and her grandma is standing on the other.
Okay. So at this point, he's zeroing in, focusing on the guy.
Hmm. And he will turn to Wise Bite, the right master next to him, and nod. And then he will shift into Lupus. Quite a few people will shift into Lupus, but Alicia and her grandma will stay as they are. Um, Not everyone will shift. Some people do, some people don't. And there'll be a great big howl go up. And this will go on for a good 3 or 4 minutes. It seems very much like you get the feeling that it's kind of a a story going on, or kind of like the version of a hymn, but it's hard
Okay.
for you to figure out exactly what's going on.
Can I get a perceptions linguistics check on this?
Can. Mm-hmm.
Let me get 5 dice, please. I don't know what the diff would be, seeing as this is a language he doesn't know.
Well, part of it's body language. So I think with that, I'm going to give you the fact that it's semi-religious, but it's also definitely about the family.
Okay.
You get the feeling that there's something of a call and response pattern to how the howl is going off, because there's some of them joining in at different points. But it's
Okay.
definitely being led by Wisebite.
Gotcha. The people who are in Hamid, what are they doing?
Some of them are joining in. Some of them are just kind of quietly watching. You get the feeling that their energy is joining, even if they're not. And some of them almost seem to be harmonizing, but in human voices.
Gotcha. Let me get a performance. What would it be? Charisma performance?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. Let me get 6 dice.
That is a
Oh,
no.
shit. Adam immediately stops as soon as he realizes he's fucking up. It's
He
just
gets
like,
a
yeah,
few glances, but you do. It seems like if a baby cries in church.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's not really appreciated, but they don't really blame you for it either.
At this point, Adam's all like, it's better to be seen than not heard. Yeah.
After a few minutes, when this is over, um, several of them shift back into Homid. Some of them stay as Lupus. But the Alpha, the man that everyone paid attention to, will start talking. Um, and he will look around the circle and he will say, "This has been a good month. Much has been done. Much is still needing to be done. Who has something that they need to speak about?" And Alicia will step forward, and several other people will step forward, and he will point to one of them, and the person he pointed to will say, "I have news of polluted waters and the beings that live in them and their worm taint. I should like to be given permission to lead the hunt at the end of the moot." And the Alpha will consider for a minute and then nod, after glancing at someone else in the circle who also gives a small nod. And you get the feeling that he's probably checking with the person who normally does it. Not because he can't make the decision for himself, but because he wants to be aware of what that person feels as well. And then the person that had spoken steps back into the circle and he'll point at another person. And that person will say, I would like to tell the sept of the first change of my nephew. This is Peter Delacour. He is a new Arun of the sept, and will gesture, and one of the teenagers, because you'll notice that there's mostly adults and teenagers present. And one of the teenagers that's still kind of spotty and awkward looking will step forward, and um, everyone will kind of clap politely.
Adam will join in with golf clap.
Um, and then once everyone has finished clapping, they'll both step back into the circle, and the alpha will point to another person in the circle. Will say, I would like to ask the master of the challenge for a challenge for Fostern. And one of the other wolves will step forward. And you don't exactly hear what he says because he's currently in lupus form.
Nice.
Everyone else seems to understand. The person that had made the challenge blushes heavily. There's a few snickers, but they're trying to keep. But they're being subtle about it. They're not being mean about it. It's just you can clearly tell that whatever the wolf has said has greatly embarrassed the person that has asked,
Right.
and he kind of steps back into the circle, and the person next to him, who looks similar enough to be related, gives him a cuff around the back of the head.
Okay.
Kind of a, if I'd known you were going to say that, I would have told you how stupid you were first, kind of.
Nice. At
um,
that, Adam kind of smiles.
but you know, as things go, everything seems to be fairly polite. Um, I'm gonna, for the sake of expediency, skip through a few rite of accomplishments from various other nameless NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
And then once everyone else has gone, he will point to Alicia. And Alicia will say, I am bites the groin.
Adam's
Alpha,
eyes just kind of widen at this.
oh, alpha of the sept of the magi. Say alpha of the sept of the magi. As you can probably tell, I hadn't thought ahead about what the sept was going to be called. Sept
Right.
magi. That will do. Um, and I have brought a perspective kinfolk to the children of Gaia to speak with you. He has been asked to share a story to prove his worth, and then I would greatly appreciate your consideration in whether you will grant him entrance to our tribe. And she'll very deeply kind of bow to everybody because she is technically a guest here, even if she
Right.
is of higher rank than over half the people here. Um,
Right.
and then she'll step back into the circle and give you a nudge with the elbow.
Adam will kind of step forward, be like, so, um, the story. So,
Begin by introducing yourself, the
yes,
author will
yes.
say. Not in a nasty way, just in a, this is how you're supposed to do it, babe.
Kind of smiles. I am Sir Adam Weston of House Fiona. Uh,
There'll be a few
I,
murmurs at the mention of his house. They seem vaguely approving.
I I'm originally from Kentucky, and I live in Hong Kong now. And for those of us who aren't aware, I'm a Fae, um, Puka to be exact. And he kind of actually is like looking in the air as he says this. Um, so yeah, um, the story it's one of peril. It's one of insane stupidity, and it's one of heroism and survival. So we have this issue over in Hong Kong um, that we're dealing with, and we went to investigate this issue. And in doing this, we had some. I have a buddy who's I think he's a glass walker. I don't know exactly what Charlie is, what tribe, but anyways, he's a guru, and he was all like, "I'm gonna go check the Umbra." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So he goes to check the Umbra, and I'm talking with this group. And bear in mind, we had just gotten chased down by this giant glass scorpion thing, and as it you know kind of materialized and took out the bumper of my vehicle, I teleported us and the vehicle to a different location. And there were apparently some sort of spiders dealing with this wall of technology. It was all very, I don't know. Anyways, so Charlie disappears and comes back screaming and running. And I'm like, what? And this girl I know, great girl, you'd love her. She fucking starts backing up, and I'm like, what? So I'm looking ahead of me at this wall, and suddenly these five just Krynos monstrous grew like monster, and he starts using his hands to gesture, and like he's 6'1" normally. He stands his hand as
There's
tile
a
as
few, there's a few snickers and kind of looks of of seriously at him.
he holds his hand as high up as it'll go. These huge monsters of like freaking Garou. They're in Krynos. They're mad. They're angry, and they all show up out of nowhere. And Ju's backing up, and I'm like looking at her, and I turn, and she's like reaching for me. So what do? The Fiona thing to do. So I stand between her and the Garou, and there's this huge confrontation where they're talking about give us the anomaly back for repurposing, and I'm like, no, piss off. And they're like, give us the anomaly back. And my friends are all like trying to talk these things out of it. Bear in mind, these Guru have like laser eyes, man, laser eyes. And he's like got his hand patching over one eye. They've got like cybernetic eyes and legs and their arms. Oh my God, their arms aren't there. They're no longer arms. They don't have claws or muscle. They're these like giant cannony crab things. And he's going on describing a Raiden cannon. He's like, so these things are still just not getting the we're not going to give over the anomaly, which is in my vehicle. But we're not going to give over the anomaly. It's one of our friends. He's fine. And so I'm just like, fuck it. They're charging these cannons, and I'm not going to let people die. So I I kind of teleported to behind them, and and did one of these numbers, and at that I'm spending the glamour and calling upon the weird,
Okay.
and call, like gesturing to the sword. By the way, the sword in the when it comes into reality is silver. Shit,
It's going
not
to get a
spinning.
few raised eyebrows, but they're just going to wait for you to continue your story.
So he's like, he kind of pulls the sword out. I grab this and I'm just like slash to the back, and he puts it away at that point. He's
Mhm.
just like, bear in mind it's on fire when he pulls it, and it's silver, and it's a fucking katana, and yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, and we get into this massive fight. They're shooting off these arms they have. They like shot electricity. I get hit in the face with one of them. It kind of sucked, and he points to his arms where there's scarring and shit. Looks like he got into a really bad, welding accident. And like they're fighting, and one of them gets up at Ju's face, and I kind of like Ju, like more than kind of like. But anyways, um, so I'm like, oh hell no, no one puts baby in a corner. So I moved super fast, like I got super pissed and moved really fast and just started wailing on this thing. And it drops. Like I do my final hit on this thing and it drops. Like not for my head because well the blade's got poison. That's not important. Anyways, so it dropped, and I was just wreathing in anger and fear for her. And so there's five of these things, right? We get all but one of them, and my friends, they're all attacking the one, and I'm just like, you know what? No one's hitting this thing. Everybody, grab it. So I teleport to 100 feet up, grab my sword. Everybody grabs the Krynos Guru. I come down with the sword straight into the skull and fall to the ground. That was the first incursion. And like, yeah, it was freaking great because like these things they were bad. They were really bad. They were apparently Guru that had been captured and turned into drones by the Weaver. I don't know. It was fucking nuts. But anyways, so that was the first incursion. The second incursion, we went back to the wall to figure out what the hell. And these tanks, he starts describing basically a Tachikoma from Ghost in the Shell. Um, Actually, he starts describing basically the Batmobile from the Nolan Batman series, and describes this huge pod on the back that makes it look like a spider. He's like, these tanks, they come out of fucking nowhere, right? And they grab you and they shock the shit out of you. And they grabbed one of her buddies and tossed him into the back of it. And I was just like, oh, hell no. And I just waylaid on this tank. So we do this and we end up basically like getting our asses damn near handed to us. So we destroy the tanks. One of them runs away. And there's these two other things. They're like 8 foot tall, man. And he starts describing Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like they were like Terminators, and anytime you hit them, like their skin would like seal up and fix itself, and it was bad. So to save the group, I teleported us all out back to a safe place. And one of us had been poisoned, so I got a cure for that and injected him with the cure, and it was, you know, unicorn horn, and it was yeah. So that's the brief rundown of my story.
The cure was unicorn horn.
Yeah, yeah, a unicorn horn. It can cure any poison or disease. Like he looks at whoever asked. Yeah,
That
it's
was Wise Bite.
yeah. He looks at Whitebite. Yeah, it's a unicorn's horn can heal any poison or disease.
There's a bit of a snicker at you explaining that to Wise Bite.
He kind of Adam actually kind of looks dejected. It's true.
Of course it is.
Uh,
Unicorn is our tribal totem.
That's right. Gust was telling me that. Chimerical unicorn. Sorry, it's a dreaming unicorn. Um, the horn can be used to heal any poison or disease or anything like that. So But yeah, we got them to safety just in time, and that's my story.
The alpha is going to look around the circle. And he's going to say, who will speak to the glory? And one of them will step forward. Who will speak to the honor? And another one will step forward. Who will speak to the wisdom? Here, there's a bit of hesitation, a bit of everyone kind of looking around and kind of considering. But eventually, Alicia's grandma will step forward. There is the impression that you kind of just squeaked through on that one.
Nice.
And the alpha will nod. And then he'll turn to the right master. And the right master will step forward and will approach you. And he will say, you have been accepted for this rite. Would you like to have the first part cast upon you tonight?
Adam takes a breath and nods. Yes. Please. He adds, kind of with a raised index finger, going, aha.
You will need to be naked.
Well, I've been naked a lot, so okay. So he gets naked.
And one of the other Garu will bring something, a small bowl filled with red kind of liquid to the right master. And he will carefully write on your body while in Krenos form, using the tip of his claw very, very carefully. A whole bunch of different runes all over. And then there will be lots of howling. And the three different guru that said that they would step forward for the different virtues will come forward, and each of them will come forward, face you, place a hand on each shoulder and touch their forehead to yours, and then step back into the circle. And there'll be more howling, and you'll feel this kind of energy pass through you, but because you're a changeling and you don't really get affected by delirium anyway,
Right.
It's hard to tell that anything has changed.
I mean, Adam can feel fear, he just is not affected by it, so.
Well, the fear that you've been feeling about all these crime-nosed people wandering around, which is a natural and innate fear, it eases a lot.
Okay.
Because all the fear based on their age and based on the Krynos form, the delirium and everything, that all kind of seeps out of you. I mean, obviously there's still the base nervousness,
Mm-hmm.
and you're still surrounded by a large group of people, but other than that, it's all kind of slipped away. And then the right master will nod and say, the first rite is cast. You will need to return twice more before it becomes permanent.
Adam will nod at this.
I would recommend the new moon and the full moon. I can ensure that I am free for both of those.
Adam kind of smiles. I can be here whenever you need.
He'll nod and will take your hand and lead you to stand in the circle next to him.
He'll follow.
And then the alpha will look around. Is there anything else that anyone would like to raise? There's a pause. And then he glanced at the right master, who this time will stay in Homid form. And he's singing a song that is pitched so that the wolves can all kind of harmonize no matter which form they are currently in, which they do. And he will sing about thankfulness to the spirits and appreciation of family. And it sounds very much like a closing hymn, very
Okay.
much like a closing hymn. And then once he's finished and everyone grows quiet, there's a pause of like 2 or 3 seconds where everyone kind of just looks down for a moment, and then suddenly there is this huge rush towards the food table. Just
Okay.
like that, suddenly it has gone from serious villagers back to family gathering. There's a huge rush towards the food table. And Alicia and her grandma will come over, and the alpha and the right master will be possibly like, waiting to see if you want to say anything.
One moment. Train passing through. Sorry.
That's okay.
I think it's done. Nope. Apparently not. Jesus, it's like they have ESP. They know when I'm hitting unmute. So, you were saying?
Like I said, Alicia and her grandma come over and kind of join you, and the alpha and the white master look at you to see if you've got any questions or anything to say.
He's kind of like, so, like, yeah. Ugh. So, yeah, no, like, I'm, yeah, just taking this all in.
It was not the best told story, but there was much in it that spoke of glory and honor and some wisdom.
I'm not the wisest in the bunch, but I definitely get the job done.
There is much of the full moon in you.
Let me get an intelligence guru on this, actually, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, get some dice. Let me get 5 dice, please.
You don't really remember the terms for it, but you do remember Alicia telling you about how full moons are a bit more martial, and Travis being a full moon.
Gotcha. He kind of smiles at that. He's like, "That's actually funny. Like amongst well, amongst the changelings, I'm actually supposed to be more of the the ones the tricksters. Oh, the word I'm looking for.
The new moons.
Yeah, yeah." And bear in mind, he's not making eye contact with anyone.
Mhm.
Um, like, yeah, I'm Puka, so like, we can't directly ever tell the truth to one person in particular. So it's kind of this whole thing, and we like, yeah. Not that that story was untrue. That story was completely true, but I can't speak directly to someone. And he looks up to whoever he's talking to and goes, I mean, what color shirt are they wearing, by the way?
Um, Grey.
Gray. Okay. I mean, that's a lovely blue shirt you're wearing, after all. And he looks away. Damn it. Gray, gray, gray. Looks up. Blue. He looks down.
There'll be a bit of a snicker, and the right master will pat you on the shoulder. And at this point, two of the teenagers will appear carrying large plates covered in food, and complete with gumbo, and I mean, there's like half a pig on this giant plate.
Oh, Jesus.
Small pig, but still, there's like half a pig on this giant plate. So two of the teenagers show up with one of them's carrying two giant plates, and the other one is carrying two 6 packs
Of what?
of beer,
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
and they're going to, without saying a word, hand a 6 pack and one of these giant plates over to each of the Alpha and the Right Master.
He
Who's
looks
going?
at the plates and then looks at the teens and then looks at Alicia and goes, you know, you think these kids thought that they were red caps.
Alicia's just going to pat him on the shoulder and say, "We should probably join the queue for food."
Okay, food's good. Yes, food.
And you'll notice that there is a lot of food. Um, these might the plates that got delivered to the Alpha and the Right Master might be fairly large, but there's quite a lot of people eating quite a lot of food. I mean, even these little skinny people, some of them I mean, some of them are quite large people, some of them are really not. But even the smaller people are having, 5 or 6 burgers um, plus various drinks and probably a bowl of gumbo.
Adam will get a rather large bowl of gumbo simply because he knows what that is, without question. I mean, kid's first job was in a New Orleans style restaurant, so
Um,
yeah.
yeah, as you head towards the gumbo, Alicia is going to very quietly say, um, That stuff is really, really spicy.
He kind of smiles. Yeah, so sriracha.
She'll just shrug. She doesn't actually have any of the gumbo, but she does have half a dozen burgers and a few sausages and some ribs.
Okay. Yeah, Adam is gonna just have gumbo. He's gonna fill up on gumbo because
That's
God
fair
knows
enough.
when the last time he got gumbo was.
Yeah, it is very, very good, very, very spicy gumbo. So don't let just anyone make gumbo for the moot. It's good stuff. And Alicia's grandma will look very pleased at how much of the gumbo you were eating.
Yes, Adam is all about some gumbo.
And she will also be eating mainly gumbo. And she'll just kind of comment to you, my husband makes good gumbo, doesn't he?
He kind of looks over, kind of slurping from the bowl, and just nods, continuing to down the stuff.
But yeah, everyone's going to be drinking, chatting, eating. There's quite a lot of alcohol, and nobody seems to pay much attention to whether the teenagers help themselves to alcohol or not. There's also non-alcoholic drinks. I mean, you can see quite a few of the teenagers are happily drinking beer, despite the fact that some of them are definitely underage. But nobody seems to bat an eyelid. And despite what you might expect, none of them seem to get drunk. Even the teenagers.
Adam's just kind of like, why would you drink it if you're not trying to get drunk?
Alicia will shrug. She's drinking lemonade, but she'll just shrug.
Adam is drinking water because God knows when the last time he had American water was.
Fair enough. And after quite a bit of eating and drinking, the person that asked earlier about leading the hunt will kind of clear his throat and shout a bit, but it's hard to hear him over the hubbub. And then the person that the alpha glanced to will let out this great big roar of, who will stand for the hunt? And quite a few people will end up gathering around the person who's leading the hunt, who is looking slightly embarrassed about the other person having to shout for him. But they're also quite pleased that he would, and has come to join in the hunt as well. You'll notice probably a good third of the Garu are heading over to join the hunting group. But there's still 2/3 that aren't. All the teenagers are staying behind, and most of the most of the older Guru are staying behind. The Alpha isn't going, but whether that's because he doesn't go hunting or because he's trying to show trust in the people that are, is hard to tell. And the right master isn't going, but there's still quite a large group of people who are. They seem to be mostly the middle group.
Alicia. So, and he swallows. So, is this where I go join them?
You can go over to volunteer.
Okay.
Whether
So
they'll agree to take you or not is up to them.
He kind of smiles and winks. I've got a sword.
You do. You do have a sword.
So he, by the way, I forgot. Yeah, he's still in, uh, he's still chimerical reality to the forefront. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a little, probably 6 inch to a foot tall, like 1950 style jailhouse greaser, kind of just sitting on his shoulder, smoking a cigarette that is apparently not real of some sort. And Adam kind of stands up, puts his bowl where all the dishes are, and goes over to that group. He's like, "Hey, I want to join. I want to get in on this."
They kind of look at you the same way that people that are planning to play football would look at a 5-year-old that wandered over and said, I want to join in. It's kind of you feel a bit bad telling him no, but is it really safe bringing him along? There's that kind of a look going around between them. And then they
Adam
all
looks
kind
at the
of
person leading it and goes, "I know Rokia."
okay. If you
Yes.
get hurt, it's your own fault.
That's fine. If I get hurt, I will totally come back here.
Okay. He's going to look around at the people that are gathered. The factory to the north that pumps out ungodly worm-tainted water is also swarming with strange beasts. We will hunt some of these beasts. We will hunt them down to their spawning sites. It will be a long night. And then he's going to turn into lupus form, and they're all going to turn into lupus form. And he's going to trot off into the trees. And they're all going to trot off after him.
Adam's going to follow, and as soon as he's not being watched by anybody, he's going to shift.
That's fair enough. But yeah, they're gonna trot off at a fairly steady pace, and they're gonna keep glancing back at you until they kind of slightly leave you behind. At which
Uh,
point you'll be able to shift and then be
yeah.
able to catch up.
Yeah, when I shift, I'm actually going to go ahead and take a spin to glamour.
Mhm.
And I need, again, 7 dice, diff 3. I'm not teleporting. What I'm actually doing is for Quicksilver.
They're not running. You'll be able to catch
Oh,
them up. You're just like
gotcha.
a few basically, they're just going to trot off at a casual pace that would be running for a human, but you can catch up
Right.
easily enough as your cougar form.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yep, animal affinity going, don't need the dice.
Yeah. So, as a cougar, you have to kind of run forward a bit, but you'll catch up easily enough. And once you do, you can settle into this nice jogging pace with the rest of them. And about 15 minutes later, there'll be a short discussion, none of which you're able to understand. And then one of them will come over gently grab you by the scruff of the neck with his teeth, and then you're back into the real world.
Okay.
It
Where am
looks gloomier and darker.
I?
I mean, it was already looking a bit gloomier in this direction.
Right.
Now you can definitely smell kind of the decay and a bit of pollution. It's definitely not one of the nicer parts of the bayou.
Gotcha. Cat night vision active. What am I looking at?
You're still looking at trees. There's the sounds of water nearby. There's always the sounds of water going by you, but this sounds like a larger amount of water.
Okay.
And
Um,
you'll notice that the others are starting to sneak forwards a bit more stealthily.
okay. I'm gonna spend a glamour and the leather strap collar around my neck, which Adam always has on, is actually going to whisper in uh, any comprehensible tongue to whoever the pack alpha is for this scenario. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and scout ahead in the trees.
He's going to raise an eyebrow but give a wolfy shrug.
Okay, cool.
And then he's going to lie down and mimic creeping forwards, just to say, don't give us away.
Right. At this point, I need 6 dice, standard diff. That is my Dex Athletics pool to climb the tree. I'm assuming the trees are close enough that I can
Yeah,
go
there's
from one
plenty of.
tree to another without issue.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Especially with that number of successes.
Awesome. So,
Um, so yeah, you've successfully climbed the tree. You can sneak from tree to tree, getting a bit closer.
I'm going to try and get ahead of the pack just to do recon.
Whilst they're being quite careful and quiet, they're more spreading out in a circle to try and surround whatever this place is that you're getting closer to. So you're able
Okay.
to move ahead of them fairly easily because they're not really moving forward yet.
Okay. Getting ahead of them, what am I looking at? Like, what's coming into view?
There is a large pool um, in a river. It's and there's a whole bunch of figures moving around in it.
Okay.
Um, there's also a factory kind of in the distance and a water pipe that is letting out into this pool in the river.
Okay.
Because it's quite dark, you can't really see the state of the
Cat
water.
night vision.
Yeah, even with cat-like vision, you can't really see the state of the water trickling into the pool, but you can smell it. It does not smell good. It smells chemically.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Um,
Um.
and the
Yeah.
figures do not look entirely human.
Okay. Um. I am going to roll an intelligence changeling lore.
Mhm.
Uh, 5 dice, please. I will say this is at diff 8 because Fomor and Fomori are essentially the same thing, from my understanding. So
One success.
awesome. What is this? Does changeling lore have anything to do with this? Do I?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a highly unusual Garu thing. It's not something that
Okay.
most of the Garu even know about.
Um, then let me roll some Guru lore. Yeah, 5 dice at whatever the diff would be.
That's a botch.
Hmm. Obviously, these things are some sort of fucked up changeling.
Yep, obviously.
Okay. Um, what do they look like in the dreaming?
In the dreaming, you can probably see them a bit better in the dreaming than you can in real life, but they look a bit like look vaguely greenish, and their eyes are way too far apart
Okay, so they're not
and big.
trolls or ogres. Um,
Their eyes are quite big and they look vaguely greenish.
okay, so I'm getting the vision in my head of like Gollum from The Hobbit, except green instead of gray.
Yeah,
Okay.
and not skinny,
Oh,
not
they're
skinny at
beefy.
all.
They're beefy. Okay.
Very beefy.
Um, at this point, I'm looking for what the pack is doing.
Um, it's very hard for you to see them even with your vision because they're being fairly stealthy. But
I can roll a perk alert if you'd like.
no, it's okay. I'll just say you're just about able to see one on the far side. No, one downriver
Okay.
and one upriver that seems to be busy swimming across the stream.
Okay, so the pack is pretty much moving on, ignoring these two beefy golems.
There's more than two.
Oh,
There's about a
okay.
dozen of them in this pool.
Wonderful. So the pack is moving on, ignoring them.
They're not moving on and ignoring them. They're definitely paying attention to them as they cross this river. But considering the pool has a river going in at the top and out at the bottom, what they're doing is they're crossing the river on either side to try and flank them.
Gotcha. That's what I was gonna ask. Is what tactically does this look like? Um.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to make sure that when they go in, there's nowhere for them to run.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna move to a better vantage point to ready in action. Once the pack starts moving in for the kill, I'm gonna pounce on the closest one if I can
Okay.
get within range to pounce.
It's quite tricky getting within range because obviously you're currently in the trees and they're moving around in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And getting closer will probably involve getting down and wading in the water without making too much noise. And water tends to be noisy. But you can try
Right.
if you want.
Um. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do it. Fuck it. What is it? Dex stealth.
Yeah,
6 dice.
one success
Awesome.
because it's diff 8. So you manage to get down and creep a bit closer. Um, not quite pouncing distance, but definitely enough to be able to identify your closest target.
Okay.
And you can see them a bit better now. They've got really wide mouths.
So evolutionary wise, these things are designed for me eating mass quantities of food. Oh. Okay. Um.
And they do seem to have kind of chubby bellies.
So they eat a lot. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting on the pack to do something at this point because Adam is rather out of his element because he is not the leader in this situation. Not that he is
Mhm.
most times, but he's also dealing with a society that lives around the mentality of the pack.
Yep. About
So,
6 or 7 Krynos form Garou come charging in from the opposite side of the lake, making lots of noise, being very aggressive. And whilst 2 or 3 of the, yeah, we'll go with 3 of the dozen figures go to fight those. The rest of them seem to scatter in your direction and the direction of the majority of the pack, who will wait until they get closer to the edge of the pond and then suddenly pounce out on them.
well, I'm hidden. So, I'll wait because no one is paying me attention as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
And when one of them gets close enough, I will shift and I will draw my sword.
Mm-hmm.
And surprise, surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dex melee of 5.
Four successes.
Awesome. 3 carry over. Um, Strength of 1 plus 4 lethal. So 5 right now, plus 3 carryover, 6, 7, 8, plus 1. So 9 dice for damage. The blade is on fire, so do with that what you will. One of those damage dice is a poison that is cumulative with every successful attack. And upon striking, sunlight.
Right. So suddenly you're in the middle of a spotlight of sunlight. And it's at this point you realize that there are 3 wolves sitting watching you.
So yeah, yep,
And
that's a thing.
they look a bit grumpy to be sitting watching you. but they're right there. Your sword has gone shlunk. Basically, it is chunked straight into what you can now see is somewhat slimy amphibian looking.
Okay.
Like I said, the eyes are way too wide apart and bobbly and kind of look a bit like frog eyes. The mouth is way too wide. And but your sword has gone straight into the stomach and sliced it
Is
way
that there?
open. And he kind of it's a loud, angry, aggressive croak. And
Okay.
he's going to basically smack you in the face with a big froggy hand.
Okay. I will roll stamina to soak. Because unless it's lethal or ag, I can soak.
Yep. So 4.
Give me 2 soak dice, please.
So you soak 1. So that's 3 bashing.
Nice. Okay.
Basically, just giving you a black eye and maybe a broken nose.
Yep. At that, Adam is now anthro-ish because he's still using his calling upon the weird.
Mm-hmm.
Adam will give a very aggressive cat like growl, and my sword's still in this thing's gut, right?
No, it went straight through. You went like clunk. right.
Okay.
It's cut from basically near one thigh, straight across his stomach, and come out near the other shoulder.
Okay.
His stomach is
Um,
now kind of gaping open.
that's fine. What I'm gonna do at this point is go again for a melee, 5 dice. But I am actually at this point doing a called shot on his stomach.
Okay.
And I want to make very specific. I am specifically going to insert the sword into his stomach, but not carry it through the other side.
Okay.
So,
That's 2 successes.
so one carries over 5, 6, 7 dice of damage. And every round he takes an ag. Now he takes still an ag.
Not the best on that, but yes, another ag.
Awesome.
And pretty much not looking in a very good state at the moment.
I'm fine with that. Because this next part is where it gets fun.
And your soak is 2, isn't it?
Yep. Sweet.
Nice. So 1 more bashing damage.
So I'm at 4 bashing.
Mhm.
I'm top of the round. I'm going to spend a glamour.
Okay.
Particularly, I'm going to pop a dross to spend a glamour. So that way it
Okay.
doesn't eat up more of my actual glamour reserve.
Okay.
I need
Well,
7.
presumably you can pop the dross after this, if you see what I mean. But yeah.
Yes, yes. I am going to need 7 dice for my normal action.
Two successes.
Okay, cool. 2 extra actions at the bottom of the round.
Oh wait, is it diff 3?
Yeah, it's at div 3, so
4.
4. Cool. 4 extra actions at the bottom of the round.
Okay.
Okay, now this is actually going to be a little crazy wonky combat tactic for you.
Mhm.
My sword is stuck in there, and I still have hold of my hilt. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm vibrating the blade,
Okay.
meaning I'm kind of just wiggling the blade so that I don't have to. It's still in its target, so I don't have to roll an actual to hit. At this point, it's straight damage.
Okay.
Um, like I said, it's a little wonky combat tactic, but it works.
Mhm.
I need 5, 6 dice, please. Actually, fuck it. I'm doing it for 4 actions. 6 times 4 is I need 20. No, I need
So
24.
no, it's okay. I'll roll them as separate ones.
Okay, that
The
works.
second action where he dies and starts spasming.
Okay, cool. At that point, Adam is going to take the sword out and spend his remaining 2 actions for that round, moving up to the next guy.
Everyone
Because
else is dead.
oh, nice. Okay, cool. Adam is going to clean the sword off on his House Fianna bannerments, on his like pauldrons and shit, and sheath the sword.
And a lot of the wolves are looking somewhat disgusted because they're covered in gunk from these things. Other ones are going to start dragging them and dropping them into the water.
Adam will follow suit, grab his, and drag it and drop it into the water.
And one of them is going to send up a howl. The others aren't going to join in, but it's just one of them sends up a howl, and they all shift into Homid, and then shift back into Wolf. And you realise quite soon why they've done that because they're now not covered in gunk.
Oh, nice. So yeah, Adam's just like, oh, okay.
whereas Adam and his sword are still covered in mucus
Well,
and blood.
Adam, the sword Adam kind of just cleaned
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just at this point kind of looking around and gonna find a tree, ship behind the tree, and
Hmm.
come out.
And they all seem quite happy that this has come over. One of them is limping slightly, but he stops limping on the way back. Um, and they're all generally quite happy, except the three wolves that were sitting watching you when the daylight went off. Seem a bit grumbly.
The 2 times it went off.
Yeah, they seem a bit less happy, but okay about it. You might notice that they're clearly the younger ones out of the group.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if you've worked it out of character or not, but if you haven't, roll a perception empathy.
Side note, because I'm a puka, empathy, I am incapable of botching any empathy rolls and subterfuge rolls. So, heads
Fine.
up. Um, yeah, empathy and subterfuge. Perception, empathy, 5 dice, please.
Yeah, they were definitely set to watch you,
Nice.
babysit the kinfolk, and
Nice.
that's why they didn't get to join in and are looking a bit grumbly. Um,
Nice. Protect the kinfolk.
yeah, just watch you and see if you could handle yourself, and
Yeah,
and step in if needed. And they didn't need to. And now they're feeling a bit grumbly and left out because they wanted to join in the hunt too.
fun, fun.
But they're not angry with you. It's one of those. You know, it's like when teenagers don't get to join in stuff.
Right, they're like, oh man.
Yeah, it isn't the teenagers. They're a bit older.
Right.
They're still clearly kind of like the lower ranking ones in the group that got stuck with the job of looking after you.
Nice.
But you're gonna make it back fairly easily.
Okay.
On the way, you pass three wolves heading the other direction.
He keeps walking, but his head keeps going between the group he's with and the group that passed.
The others, well, they nod their heads in respect to the three that have gone past, and you recognise one of them as Wise Bite, because you saw him in
Okay.
Luke's form earlier. But they just keep heading back to the moot.
Okay. Well, Adam will follow suit because woe be him to tell the elder, hey, don't go over there. There's bad shit over there. Bad
They
shit that we
already
killed.
fought all the bad shit.
Do what?
They already fought all the bad shit. They've already killed all the frog people. Going over there to cleanse the place.
Ah, gotcha. That makes sense. I don't know. Adam's very confused by the whole
Yeah.
situation, as he
Well, he
should be.
gets back to the moot, and uh, quite a few of the people glance sympathetically at his black eye. People are still eating and drinking and chatting and having a genuinely good time. And but when they notice that he's injured, there's a bit of mumbling between people where they seem to be discussing something, but they're being a bit reluctant about it. And then Alicia will kind of come over and be like, people are trying to decide whether they should offer to heal you or if you're okay with healing yourself.
Um,
We
I'll
don't want
heal
to
myself.
upset you if kind of.
Oh, no, no, I'm not upset at all. In that fight, I had a Garal, and one of my friends is a Garal. He licked my face to heal me. So, I mean, no, I'll take the healing happily.
She'll nod and smile and kind of glance over to another group and kind of nod. And one of them will come over and pat you on the shoulder. And
He kind of
he's
smiles,
going to heal
Rocky
everything.
Balboa smile.
They're just going to heal everything because I can't be bothered to roll for them.
It takes all the hurt away.
Yep, takes all the hurt away.
Yay. So yeah,
His
he
mother's watch.
oh, gotta love that thing. Oh, that gift. So, Adam, he the glamour in the calling upon the weird goes away, so he just looks like normal human Adam again.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, well, this was interesting, to say the least.
And Alicia will just kind of comment, this will probably go on until sunrise, the eating and the drinking and the chatting and stuff. It's up to you if you want to hang around or not. You're quite welcome to. I tend to kind of wander off and go back to my set because, well, we kind of have our own one to worry about. But you're
He
welcome
kind
to stay.
he kind of nods at this. He's like, you realize it's daytime for me, right?
To a shrug.
Hong Kong schedule. Gotta love
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's entirely up to you. There's
Okay.
there's plenty of food, and I'm sure later on the singing will start.
Well, we've already seen how I do with the singing, so
Yeah,
I
the
think,
cards might give you a few tips on that.
yeah, yeah. I think at that point I am going to go ahead and head home.
Sure.
Do you need a way home?
No, no, I'm going to use the moon bridge.
Okay. Speaking of moon bridges, so got a question for you since we're talking pretty openly, and yeah, um, Charlie, the glasswalker I mentioned, he said something about these things came out of what looked like. He describes the moon bridge that's in the wall.
That sounds very similar to a moon bridge, yes.
There's weaver things coming out of moon bridges.
Well, they're kind of just connections between different places. Where you link them to will depend on what kind of goes through them,
Gotcha.
or
So
the other
wait,
way around.
am I able to go in and out of the Umbra now?
Not without help.
Okay, gotcha.
Most kinfolk can't, and you still need another two rituals for it to kind of stick permanently. But so most kinfolk can't get in and out of the Umbra by themselves.
He kind of nods at this. Okay. So I'm not a kinfolk just yet, but I'm on the road.
Yes,
Okay.
it takes three rituals. We've done the
Okay.
first one.
He kind of nods at this. Okay.
The other two are exactly the same. It's just they need to be done on different days.
Do I need to
The
tell a
first
story
one
for
needs to wear off before you can put the second one on.
Do I need to tell a story for them too?
No, the story was for us to agree that you should be turned into a kinfolk. So
Ah,
we've agreed
okay,
now, and you just got to show up for the other two rituals to complete it.
okay. So then, yeah, just shoot me a text when the day, because generally I don't pay attention to the phases of the moon.
Well, it's basically in a fortnight.
Gotcha. 2 weeks. Okay. Okay. Works for me. So he kind of smiles and gives her a hug and kind of winks. He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna head home then." So, and at that, I need 7 dice at diff 3.
Yes.
Yes, all the yes, all the awesome, cool. And so with that, Adam teleports back to Hong Kong, or back to the other side of the bridge, and walks the bridge back into Hong Kong, and goes back to his shop.
And there the scene will end.